welcome to News Insight on Landslide News. This morning, welcome guys, Okafor Philip.
Morning.
This is Okafor's cap. I don't understand whether he's trying to align with the Emilocom movement. I don't know. But we are watching him.
The suit you are putting on, are you from?
We are watching him.
Are you from England?
I said we are watching Okafor.
The suit you are putting on, are you from England?
Well, since the Emilocom is the one in charge, that means you want to align. Amala. Please, I've don't do that trouble. All right, the bill for the automatic transmission of election result is gaining some momentum. I mean, I was quite impressed. Of course, as at last week, we had a public hearing on it, and this week they passed second reading, and there were a lot of support coming from the senators. I mean, for the first time, I saw senators stand up to give some kudos to this bill. Okafor, maybe we may be seeing this bill come true.
No, as a matter of fact, I did not even see any kind of, do I call it a dissenting voice? I didn't see any senator say no.
For the first time.
Yes, let's not go this way. And all of them are tilted towards the things that are very, very important to us, though we don't have the
details.
We don't have the in our front. Things like electronic transmission of results, things like a harsher punishment for vote buying, and things like making the INEC officials responsible for their own election, if possibly being the one to say our election is this, not even conveying the burden of proof that election was rightly done or not on the candidates who never conducted the election. They actually just voted that day. They campaigned for people to vote for them. Senator Seraki Dixon was a particular about that burden being transferred to the candidates who never conducted the election. They are the one that will come to court to prove or disprove. They say he who alleges must prove. You know, these are beneficiaries, no doubt, but the procedures were not handled by them. They were handled by INEC staff. So the institution that is in charge of this should be the one to say, see what we did. It is okay. Look at what we did. Look at what we did. So, but that said, I wish you have seen the entire bill. I would have still added some more. There is something that is very, very important to me, and I don't know if it is there. That is judges not having power to declare anybody winner or loser. Because that is the right of the people. The judges can say that these procedures were
faulted. They can fault it.
If they are faulted, they go back to the field. Those areas of polling units affected, they go back to conduct.
All right, Philip, one of the things that
and in doing so, somebody must be punished to pay for, so that they don't keep doing that. That process again,
like what they did in Ebonyi now.
Because the officers involved are not punished, and I do know that this bill is also touching that. Because officers involved, and I mean INEC officers involved, are not punished.
Okay, I'll come to you on that punishment, because I mentioned it on another case. I think that day yesterday or day before yesterday. Now, Philip, we did not know the nitty-gritty of this bill until INEC started interpreting it to us. Some of us just thought that there was going to be automatic transmission of electronically of results, but now they are saying that it's an option or it's a monitoring process. Now, how do we know that is what we want that is on the bill?
Thank you very much. You know, for the first time, I feel Nigerian senators, they woke up and would say whether they are just face dressing. For now, I wouldn't say anything about their performance yesterday, because this is just a second reading. It has to go through committee stage and come out for full debate before you go for third reading and before its passage. Yes, they have started on a good note. We hope that they will continue on that good note. Coming to the issue of what the question you asked again, that
you know, the Supreme Court has interpreted.
Yes,
now.
I remember that. Yes, when the 2022 Electoral Act was passed and was assented to, Nigeria, were happy that they have a document that will give them a good elections, but that not to be. And when Amupota was, appointed as the national chairman of INEC, he told us that the Supreme Court has interpreted that session to mean that it's just a part of the process. But where I have some difficulties here is both the Constitution and the Electoral Act gave INEC power to put down procedure through which they can conduct an election that will produce transparency and a good result. Based on that, INEC went to the market. They told Nigeria over and over and over again through their Commissioner for Education and Voters Education, that's a person of Mr. Koi, and he's a lawyer, and he was always on air. You know, even the chairman of INEC then, Mahmoud Yakub, also told us that, look, everything is a done deal. And they even went ahead and used the system they said they were going to use for the election to conduct election in Osun State, and everybody saw the result and they were happy. They used it to conduct a by-election in Delta House of Assembly in Isoko South constituency. I remember they used it in Anambra State. So when they said the Supreme Court said it's just part of monitoring of the result, I begin to wonder whether these people are ever serious. Okafor has said it that, look, if you said it's part of a monitoring result, what happened to the result you use it to declare? I just mentioned Osun State, Anambra State, House of Assembly by-election, Delta, and some other ones. So the question is that, are these people ready for exchange, or they are just playing to the gallery? That's why I said for now, yes, they have started on a good note. You can see people who are serious within them. I was very particular about the senator representing Kebbi, Senator Alero. He was very specific that the law, that's what we have said on this table, that we deal with transmission of results to be very specific. That it should be very specific. There's no gainsay about it. And Senator, this is I said, look, it is the burden of proving whether the election was conducted within the confine of the law to be on INEC. That INEC should be the one to come to say that, yes, this election is conducted within the provisions of the law. Failure to do that, that election does not exist. Going forward, I think I want to agree, add my voice to Okafor's voice, letting the National Assembly know that, look, that is not all. The power to declare the final result of election to be stripped from INEC should remain with the people, which is what democracy stands for. It is the people that vote for who,
and not even the judiciary.
That's what I'm saying. It should be taken away from them entirely. When there are disputes from that result from election, it is not for the court to declare who is the winner or not. It is to declare whether the election was conducted within the confine of the law or not. And if it's not conducted within the confine of the law, they should go back and do it the way it was stated.
All right. Now, Okafor, let me come to you. You were talking about punishment for people. I think it runs on all facets of the Nigerian government workers. Even if you are retired from government, you can be called back to look at the paper you sign, and you feel punished for it if it was signed. Now, we are narrowing down to elections. Now, can they do that?
Okay, now let me.
That's number one. Then number two, so that I take the two of them. Number two part of it is what I asked him. How do we know the content of this?
Let me start from knowing the content. I want to start from knowing the content. They say Supreme Court judgment is the final, and there's nothing that can change it, and it is true. But that the idea that we cannot criticize that judgment is not true.
It's not true.
Not even Supreme Court justice didn't say that. Let me. What's the name of this justice? Justice Ibrahim Mohammed. He was former CJN. Let me read to you what he said. He said, with the way we operate, if any of you has any reservations, please write us and criticize us within the ambit of your knowledge and experience. This is the words of CJN, a former CJN, Ibrahim Mohammed.
Thank you.
Yes, many of them have. He said, we can't claim to know it all. We are still learning, because learning, as we all know,
never
is
stops.
Continuum. Our doors are wide open for constructive criticisms. He said, even our grammar, punctuation have to be corrected to avoid error in the rulings. Meaning after they are typing or whatever, they even give people to correct punctuation to avoid error. If you go on and on, because it's the work of man. Now, when the Amupiton says the Supreme Court has said that the IREF was not even for transmission, that's for verification. So I want to ask us, that's why you say, how do we know what is there? So when we were protesting against Buhari, all through, for us to get electronic transmission inside Electoral Act of 2022, that was only bone of contention between us and Buhari. More than 23 CSOs participated. Many Nigerians fought for that. So when all Nigerians were fighting for that, we didn't know what we are fighting for, except those that know that are the Supreme Court justices that delivered the case that brought in Asiwaju. We didn't know what we were fighting for. Buhari that said he didn't want to sign, he doesn't want to sign. The legislators that did all that, all these Okano that said there was no network in my village.
Mohammed Lawan.
Lawan that said there's no network in my village, that made them to add the exemption of manual transmission, didn't know what other people were fighting for. So the whole Nigerians, we didn't know what we signed for. I asked question, maybe they should enlighten us. Was it the words with which those things were written? Where did the misunderstanding come in that law that we didn't know what we asked for? And after signing of Electoral Act 2022, we jubilated and felt that what we are looking for, we have
gotten it.
So was it the worst that was wrong, that we couldn't know what the interpretation was? There was never a place where we anticipated by the letter or by spirit that is for verification and not for transmission. As a matter of fact, it was tried out in several states and people welcome and clap for INEC. They promised us that was what we were going to do, and we clap for INEC. It got to the House of Rep election, they did it. It got to the Senate election, they did it. The same day, election that was done, the same day at the same polling unit, the same time, the president election had a glitch. Instead, we now took the Supreme Court to let us know that what we thought we had
It's not
what we had. That is not what we want. We want a nation that we can call our own. We see, when we don't make this nation a nation that we can build, we will have no other one. Now we are having another rule again. How are we going to know that by the time we say mandatory electronic transmission of result, they will say
there's no clause.
They will say I've emailed it to the INEC chairman. I don't need to display because the law didn't say display. And they will now take the matter to Supreme Court. Supreme Court will now say it is not intended. See, this nation is ours. Like you said, after the party, so Nigeria is still ours. So let's come to punishing people for the actions they take. Let me tell you, when a police officer wrongly,
assault
someone under any kind of
whatever he's not supposed to do.
Whatever he's not supposed to do. Wrong use of power or arm or anything, you sue police. As a matter of fact, you sue Police Service Commission. You sue those people, they become responsible for this. In most cases, before the case is over, the officer must have finished serving and gone. We must have a system where the institution can transfer whether court judgment, either a fine or whatever, into this officer, even though it's fractional. Because otherwise, the money they're still going to use to pay damage, if you sue police, still our Nigerian money.
Yes.
So the police officer is immune to act how he likes, knowing that when you sue the police, apart from maybe being fired, which they never do, or demotion, which they never do, there's no other way of ensuring that his actions, he's responsible for the consequence of his actions.
And is punished for it.
We must have a way of punishing INEC officers, whoever they are, that has been given the opportunity
to serve, and they misuse it.
And they misuse it. There must be a way of punishing them.
Philip, in closing, he just said it now. The CSOs, because we don't see the fight of the CSOs again as it used to be. The fight of the people we see now are activists trying to make things change. How should we know that the change is effected? Will the document be displayed so that we can see it? Just 1 minute.
That's why I said the action of the Senate today could be seen as window dressing. It also means that they are playing to the gallery. He has said it all. Because in 2021-22, Nigeria fight tooth and nail to ensure that we have a document that can guide INEC to give us an election that we will accept. And when that document was passed into law, the then president refused to assent to it. After back and forth, they went and negotiate and agree. Some part were removed and it was signed into law. And INEC came to say that this is where we're going to go, and they even took step and did, like he said, on that election day, the National Assembly result were transmitted well, and everything was, accepted. But the presidential, election had clean. That is the most important election to us. Now they have started again by saying that do this, do that. Like you said, how do we know the content of the bill before then? It is only then, and even if we know the content, after he's been passed into law and signed into law, what will the content looks like? But again, in as much as we don't have that, but this basic thing should be there. That one, the judiciary should not be the one. Their power should only be to decide whether election was conducted within the confine of the law or not, and they shouldn't be. They should be strive of power of declaring winner from electoral result. Two, INEC should be the one to prove to court if they are dispute that the election they conducted within the confine of the law that established it. Three, the bill should be very expressed. I have said here before that electoral result in Nigeria, election result to be transmitted electronically, real time. Not that, like he said, because the people are funny. They shouldn't go that because they don't know. We say they will send it through email. And then they said the email.
All right, I can't go further than this, but one of the most basic things you said is real time. Now, if you don't know the meaning of real time means as we are punching, it's showing on the screen and we are seeing in real time. As it's happening, we are seeing. That's real time. And that's what we want. We'll be right back.